Hi everyone and welcome to this collective reading. I hope you're all well. My name is Dylan and it's great to have you here. If you've been here before, then welcome back. If you're here for the first time, then welcome. This is a timeless reading, so you're finding this whenever you need to find these messages. And if you'd like something a little more personal and you like the way that I read, you like my style, then you can find private readings linked down below in the description box. So with all of that said, let's have a look and see what's coming through energetically for you today. What do we have? So we have the Eight of Wands, so something's picking up speed. I feel like there's been quite a, just heard the words pregnant pause, so this pulling back, like the drawing back of the arrow, maybe conserving energy, maybe just taking a step back from a situation, something that we need to work through, something that we need to put effort into, but we've been in that drawing back phase, maybe in a little bit of a hermit phase, maybe in a space where we've needed to just be a little bit quieter, where we haven't been sharing as much, where we haven't been creating as much. And now I get the sense that it's time to release that bow. So this could have had something to do with the retrogrades that we've just moved through. This is a timeless reading, but this is the energy that I'm working with at the moment, here and now. So this drawing back could have been a kind of preparation and also a time to go over certain things within ourselves, maybe go within, maybe find and root out certain patterns or energies that we've carried through from other lifetimes or earlier in this lifetime. So I feel like we've been doing a little bit of rooting things out, digging around, clearing up before we can move into this Eight of Wands energy. And there's a green light, that's what I just got coming through then. The words are, there's a green light now. This is the time to reach for the stars. This is the time to reach for that thing that we really want. This is the time to put the effort in, but at the same time, it could feel effortless once we get the momentum. And that's the Eight of Wands energy, you know, there's this quickening, there's this pace, there's this speed. And actually, I do feel like this is something that we've done before, whether it be in this lifetime or another lifetime. And actually, when we put our foot down on the accelerator, we're going to take off very quickly. This pause that we've had has been very necessary. It's been important for us to be quiet in order to pick up some of the messages that we needed to hear. And like I said, get rid of some of those things that could have been standing in the way. Sometimes we can move through times where we put a lot of effort into something and it works for a short while and then it kind of trails off again. And I feel like sometimes this is a natural ebb and flow of how things work in life. You know, we can't be go, go, go all the time. But also I feel like sometimes we can make so much progress and then we get stopped, we get halted because of limiting beliefs, things that are lingering around within us. So this pause has been absolutely necessary for us to root those things out. So that's where we are at the moment. You know, we can start to put that foot down on the accelerator again, and actually we've got less blocks in the way now. And I also feel like the blocks that will be presenting themselves will be more visible. It'll be easier for us to see them and think, oh, I'm doing that thing again, and then, you know, clear that out of the way. So let's see what else we have here. The Ace of Cups. Some beautiful love energy coming through here, and I feel like with the Ace it's very much focused on self-love. It's very much around being kind to ourselves. You know, we're just talking about those limiting beliefs and how sometimes they pop up. It's very tempting sometimes to give ourselves a hard time and to be mean and to be like, oh, you know, why am I doing this again? Which is what I just mentioned, but I said it in a different way. You know, it's like, oh, I'm doing that thing again, okay. I need to be kind to myself with this because it's an old pattern. It's very different to why am I doing this again? And then getting very angry and frustrated with ourselves. So I feel like if we can find a space where we can be more playful, like the otter in this card, if we can find a space within ourselves where we can be more warm towards ourselves. I just had this feeling then of this being like a warm, it's almost like a rock pool. I feel like a little pool of water on the beach, let's say, that's had a lot of sun on it all day. So it's warm and it's comfortable, and you know, we can bring that warmth to ourselves, we can bring that love to ourselves. And there's an emergence, that's the word that just came through, an emergence of this kinder self within us, being kinder to ourselves, an emergence of softness, an emergence of perhaps even vulnerability, and being able to be very honest with ourselves about what we need emotionally. Being the Suit of Cups, this is very much about emotions and the ways in which we can bring those emotions to the table and allow them to be there and allow them to flow. So if we've been holding anything in lately, if we've been feeling too busy to feel our feelings, or been rushing around, or just keeping busy so that we don't have to feel those feelings, this is a good time to take a pause. It's funny because I feel like there's a movement forwards and there's also time for a pause. In terms of creativity, I feel like it's time to move forwards and we can let go of that arrow and let it fly forwards. In terms of emotions, while we're doing that and while we're pursuing that creative project, whatever that is, we also need to slow down when we're not doing that and allow ourselves to check in with how we're feeling, and just allow whatever is there to be there. Okay, whatever it is we're doing as well, if this is a creative project that we're talking about moving forwards, it does actually feel like play, and I feel like that's tying in with the otter. The otters love to play, and they're very loving. If you've ever seen those memes or the videos of otters holding hands, they're very loving, very gentle beings, very connective. They connect a lot with each other. And I just feel like there's that energy coming through as well, where we could be connecting with people who get it, who enjoy the things that we enjoy, who are equally as creative and also want to play their way through life, not take things too seriously. So that could be really good as well, to connect in with people that are like us in that way. So let's see what else is coming through. So we've got the Eight of Stones, skill. Yeah, so like I said, this is something that we've done before, whether that be in this lifetime or whether it's in another lifetime. I feel like we're actually very adept at this thing by this point. By the time we've reached the Eight of Stones, we have that skill and we're able to apply our energy, our time, our resources. We're able to pour those into this skill that we have. And like I said, it could feel like play. Work doesn't have to be all drudgery and misery and difficulty and strife and all of those things. We could actually take enjoyment from, or have enjoyment with, our work. We can take pleasure from our work and be proud of what we've created. And this could be something that we've inherited. I had a strong ancestral feeling coming through then. If we look at this is a Stone Age cave. This is a man working with stone. He's carving things. He's got these candles lit here, oil lamps, and he's just very focused on what he's doing. And I feel like this is something that our ancestors would have done. So it could be an ancestral craft that you're learning. It could be some kind of wisdom that you have that you're bringing forward that's been passed down through generations. It could be both. But it's definitely something that comes naturally. I wouldn't necessarily say easily, because there also needs to be discipline involved for us to do these things. Even if they're things that we enjoy, sometimes we can skirt around them and not do them and not apply ourselves to those things. You could think of someone, for example, who loves to draw, and yet they actually avoid doing that even though it's good for them, by keeping busy doing other things. If that's the case for you, whether it's drawing, writing, anything, any of the things that you want to create, then maybe sit down and ask yourself, why am I avoiding doing this? Why am I really avoiding doing this thing? Then we need to come back to applying ourselves, and then realizing, it's funny because sometimes we sit down and do these things and we think, oh, why have I been putting that off? Because I actually enjoy doing that thing. It's a very strange thing that some of us do as human beings. And notice as well that we've got the 2 8s, and I like that. There's a strong sense of continuity is the word that I just had coming through. I'm just seeing the 8 on its side as the infinity symbol, so there's a sense of continuity. And if we can get into the flow of working with these skills and also, allowing this momentum to take place, releasing the arrow from the bow, if we can do that, then I feel like it's going to be plain sailing. We just need to get out of our own way to actually do these things, which can be the the more difficult part sometimes. So let's pull another card. Got the Green Man. Yeah, some kind of structure is needed, as well as it being playful, like I was just saying about the discipline that's coming through with the Eight of Stones, the skill that we need to build. There's also some kind of structure that is needed. So this is like the masculine structured force that we need to tap into. Yes, we're working with femininity and creativity. We've still got the cauldron here. We've still got that void from which things are birthed, and we can work with that. And you know, the feminine energy can be deeply creative and also deeply nurturing. So that ties into this. We also need this structure, this discipline, some kind of container that we can put around what it is that we're doing. So turning up every day to do this thing, making sure that we sit down and do it, planning out a time to do this thing, and maybe there's some kind of schedule that we can stick to that helps us to be creative. I think sometimes think that discipline is just very boring, but I suppose a lot of you have probably already noticed, and I know I have, that once you have some kind of structure in place to hold this creative practice, then it actually helps that to flow. So it's a symbiotic relationship between the feminine energy and the masculine energy. So we do need to be standing in this masculine power as well as this feminine flow energy here with the Ace of Cups. So I like that these two have come out together. I'm also picking up on that warm pool of energy that I talked about, or just a warm pool where we can rest, where we can take shelter, where we can nourish and take care of ourselves. I'm feeling that as this cauldron, actually, how warm this cauldron would be. In fact, it looks like it's boiling, so we might not want to be sitting in boiling water, but there's something about warmth, there's something about keeping ourselves warm and nourished and nurtured and cared for, and just really looking after ourselves. And I'm feeling this on a physical level as well, taking care of ourselves physically so that we've got the energy to create what we want to create. So we'll pull another card. From an oracle deck this time. So far I've been working with tarot. Let's see what we've got. What else do we need to know in this reading? Yeah, okay. So we've got elder, we've got healing through lineage. And again, I'm getting this sense of kind of standing in this masculine power. We've got a man here from the indigenous culture of Australia standing with his staff. And he's looking actually very, very relaxed. You can tell by the facial expression that he has. He's very wise, he's very knowing, and he's reached an age where he just knows stuff, you know. He's got so much experience, and I feel like that's where we're coming to, where we have quite a strong innate knowing of what needs to be done. Sometimes it's just a case of doing that thing and having the discipline to do it, but we do know what we need, we know what we want to create. It's just a case of showing up and doing it. I'm also noticing as well that we've got these, maybe they're cave paintings, they could be on caves or on rocks somewhere, and it really ties in with this Eight of Stones and the ancestral energy that I was talking about there. You know, we've got the hand in the background, which is a cave painting, very ancient cave painting that is found in many, many different cultures, many different countries around the world. So there's something again about this very ancient desire to create, the desire to make things happen, the desire to bring things forth, to bring them into existence. So whatever it is that you've been holding back on, pulling back away from, maybe drawing that bow back metaphorically, whatever that is, I feel like the ancestors are saying now, you know, this is the time to release that arrow. We can't sit around all day is another thing that just came through, so that's interesting. We can't just rest on our laurels or just sit back and think things are just going to happen. We actually need to put effort in, which is, you know, very masculine energy. And bringing this together with the force that is required, the energy that is required to draw back a bow. This is also masculine energy. But if you bring that together, it's really interesting. So we've got the force that's needed to pull back the bow, and then we've got the release, and then the force just takes that forwards, and I'm feeling that more as the feminine flow. So it's nice to have these two cards together. There's also a call that I'm picking up on, which is interesting. I'd see this as a drinking horn. I believe this is a drinking horn in this card, but I also just saw in my mind's eye the green man kind of lifting this up and turning it around and actually using it as an instrument. And this is a call to the work. This is a call to what it is that we feel drawn to doing in the world. This is a creative call and a spiritual call. And again, there's this element of the ancestors with this, calling through that lineage, calling through your blood and saying, look, this is time. And I just had the words animation. So this is the time to animate ourselves. This is the time to move. This is the time to make something happen. Releasing that arrow. So I'm going to pull one more card and then we'll close out the reading, just as an extra message as to how we can do that, or what's supporting us during this time, whatever we need to know as we release this creative arrow into the world. Let's see what we've got here. Protection Guardian, drop your shields. So yeah, there's a definite need to relax. I just had this feeling then of just like, just chill, just relax, just kind of let it happen. There's a trajectory that we have in our lives that we're on this path, we're moving forwards in this flow, and when we get too rigid and when we protect ourselves too much and we push things away, you can imagine this hand pushing something away. When we do that, we're actually restricting the flow. So I would say be as open as we possibly can. If we have people in our lives that we trust, that we can share our emotions with, our feelings and our thoughts and maybe our worries, then lean into that as well. I feel like there's I was going to say protective, but I don't think it's protective. It's more like a supportive energy that's around us. If you don't have that in a particular person who's a physical human being, then maybe you can talk to your guides, you can talk to your ancestors, talk to your pets, talk to animals, trees, whatever helps moving forwards. There's something about expression, because I'm noticing the amount of blue in this card. So yeah, drop your shields a little bit. That's what it says here. Drop your shields, because I feel like we're maybe holding back a little bit through fear of what people might think or how people might perceive us, and we need to take a breath, pause, soften. There's a softening as well that needs to take place. So yeah, just take that time to feel into that, take that time to rest, nurture yourself in between the action, and I feel like that's going to be a really nice balance. And things will get done, whether or not we're forcing them or not. When we can find this soft space, we can actually allow them to flow, and they will happen more easily if we can do that. So thank you all for being here. It's been great speaking with you today. I look forward to reading for you again in the future and seeing you back here again. And again, if you'd like to have a personal reading with me, a private reading, the links are down below. Take extra good care of yourselves. I'll speak to you all again soon. Bye-bye. Thank you.